ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Kolokyumu and Award Ceremony of Bandırma Park competition. Before we start, I will, as one of the rapporteurs of the competition, I will try to draw a brief picture of the competition process. And before that, I would like to remind information that Mr. Günter and Luis Beca could not be here with us today due to their minor health problems. Last year, in August, the City Council in Balıkesir suggested that, considering the vast growth of Bandırma, the city will be in need of a recreational area that can also serve as a focal point for both locals and visitors from other countries. 2 months later, the mayor mentioned the competition unofficially for the first time in the Kolokyumu of Balıkesir Metropolitan Municipality competition. In November 2016, the first site visit was made by the organizational committee and the advisory jury in Bandırma. And later that month, the first study meeting was held in Istanbul with the participation of all the jury panel. In December 2016, the competition had a deadline for questions, and the competition received 135 questions from all over the world. And 2 days later, the deadline for juries, the jury panel met for the second time and published the questions and answers at the end of December. The deadline for submitting projects was on February 24th, 2017. And after the deadline of the projects, an intense preparation for the jury deliberation began in Balıkesir. The jury deliberation began on the 2nd of March 2017 and lasted for 3 days. 1st of March. And on the 4th of March, the winners were announced on the official competition website. And on March 2017, the award ceremony was held in Cannes, in Mickey. And today we're having the last event of the competition, which is the Kolokyumu and Award Ceremony in Istanbul. The competition was announced on 1st of December 2016, and it lasted for 90 days, and 125 projects were submitted to the competition from 27 different countries. The jury panel consisted of Luis Beca, who is the design principal and partner at Henning Larsen Architects, with nearly 3 decades in practice. Ödül was also the jury chair. He is a French architect and urban planner, international renown, came in 1990 with their first major commission, La Banque Populaire de l'Est in Rennes. Since then, Ödül has been faithful to her fighting attitude by diversifying and radicalizing her research through architecture. Celal Abdülgüzer was another member of our jury panel. Graduated from the Department of Architecture at Teknik University, he received a British Council research grant and studied architectural criticism at the University of Newcastle upon Tyne. Martin Reincano was another member of the jury panel. Landscape architect, Martin Reincano was born in Buenos Aires, and he studied art history and later landscape architecture. And he is the founding partner of Topotec. Günter, another landscape architect, jury member, with a passion for and deep knowledge of plants and literature, he founded Vogt Landschaftsarchitekten in 2000. Today he develops national and international projects of all types and sizes with some 40 employees of his offices in we will have the colloquium and then the award ceremony. So now I would like to introduce Celal Abdügüzel, Ödül, and Martin Vankana to the stage. Also, I would like to introduce Yüksel Demir, moderator. He is going to moderate the colloquium argument tonight.
Welcome to the colloquium of this wonderful competition. We're starting a seriously wonderful spot. And we were inspired actually by this competition to work on this spot with our first year students. Maybe we have some come here. We invited two, but I don't know if they could. So we had the chance to be in this place. And I think Bandırma is really lucky to have such a spot, but it's a bit interesting that for such a long time this spot has been left as it is, and after this competition we hope, with the initiative of the governing processes, the selected project will be built. So I'd like to give a few words first to the jury members. Maybe they would like to have some words before we start with the question session. And Professor Abdügüzel would like to start.
We can start with the chairperson.
Oh, okay. The chairperson. A few words before we start, maybe.
So, good afternoon. I think that experiencing the jury is always interesting. Being in a jury, when you are an architect or a landscape designer, is trying you, giving you the feeling that you know that competition is always judged relatively and never in absolute. That means that you can do the best project that you think, but you have to be compared to the others. And this is always a question of how to balance when you are a jury member and when you, after that, you do competition, to understand how you can find your way to go to the end. And, but at the same time, it was a very nice atmosphere between us. We were... he was my assistant. And he pretended to be my assistant, but it was not. And it was joyful at the same time because it's always interesting to debate, and it was interesting to debate between architects and landscape designers, which is not so usual, because the debate was mostly about between us. And at the end, we were all very, very impressed by the site itself, because the site is absolutely beautiful. And we wanted at the beginning that we push the limit of the site to the sea, to give you the possibility to think about the development of the coast at the same time, because and we said that to the city, and we will see, and this is why you had this possibility to propose something on the sea. But we will see what happens at the end. And but it's really, really important, and I think that this competition is very important, not only for the city, because it's important for the city, because it's really a place where you could have something very important, but at the same time, it's, as I understood, it's also important in Turkey, in the way, because this is one of the first international competition for a long time. So I hope that it will transform the book and give and open more opportunities in Turkey.
Thank you very much. We might continue with Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, maybe to add, I think it's a big luxury actually for a city also to have so many ideas on the table. So they have, even not all of them have gotten the first prize. We have a collection of interesting approaches from which I think the city can profit for the next years. What for me it's really relevant, a competition like that is only successful if we will see also the first prize realized by the authors who did these competitions, because it was an open competition, so we had a lot of pretty young participants. So I think it's important also for the municipality to take the responsibility to get these people with a commission, and also to try to keep the quality of the projects that were presented throughout the process of construction, so that when we come in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, to see that, we don't feel ashamed of our decision. It would be a pain otherwise.
Yeah, I think it was a very unique competition in many ways. First of all, it was one of the first international competitions in Turkey after long years, where this generation especially is not accustomed to being. And it was a multidisciplinary one that reflected every phase of the project in many ways, actually. Even the jury discussions, as Ödül underlined. So, I mean, the program was housing a sense of architecture besides a very powerful understanding of landscape, urbanism, planning, and everything at a time. So, I mean, it was not easy to handle, since it's not a typological subject, and the context was very unique, including some buildings to be preserved, and a very, very unique context, including dramatic landscape and view. It was not only the site that were to be designed, but it was a generator point for the whole urban fabric. So it has to be certain connections with the future of the city, with the existing fabric of the city. So it was a series of problems competing within itself, where each of the participants had a position, significant position, to handle the subject from some part of this complexity of issues. And when we look at the exhibition, actually it reflects as a very diverse and rich representation to the end product of the competition, which may be benefited in many ways. I think Bandırma and Balıkesir municipality did a great job, and I would like to thank all those people who make a big effort to realize this competition. It was really not easy to do that. And I hope also we will see it is realized, and realized in a way that we are hoping to, we are dreaming to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to proceed actually directly with the questions of the audience and give the floor to the audience and expect you to start the discussion. Any questions or comments about the whole process, the competition, the awards? So the floor is yours.
No questions? Okay, thank you very much for being with us.
Tabii, just a little bit. Bir tercüme olmaksızın İngilizce olarak yapıyoruz misafirlerimiz, bizim üyelerimizin katılabilmesi için. Ama Türkçe'de soru sorabilirsiniz, arkadaşlarımız size çeviride yardımcı olacaklar. Buyurun.
I have a question to you. Did you all take part in the competition? Yes or no? Okay. So you don't know anything about the competition?
Not all of them.
They thought that there was a lecture by you.
Who take part? Ah, okay. So.
There's a question there.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mikrofon
Murat.
istetebilir miyiz acaba?
Merhabalar. Tanımayanlar için Murat Şahin. Yarışmaya katıldık. Geliyor mu sesim?
Tabii biz çeviririz.
Zaten değil, hocam söylemeseydi de Türkçe gelecektim. Çünkü uluslararası bir yarışmada sanırım herkes bizden. Ve kolokyumun bu kadar uzanmış olmasından kaynaklı olarak da katılım oldukça düşük. Yarışma içinde bence, yarışma ortamı içinde bence kötü bir durum bu. Çünkü öncesinde bayağı bir konuşulmuştu sonuçlar açıklandığında. O kısma geleceğim. Sanırım jüri için iyi bir gezi oldu. Ben böyle düşünüyorum. Yani sonuçlara baktığımda. Bu sadece kendimin yaptığı ya da kendimizin yaptığı projeyi içselleştirmekten yanı sıra bir bütün olarak elenen projeleri gördüğümüzde ya da reaksiyon gösterilen şeyin farklılığını okuduğumuzda ya bizim adımıza Selçuk yarışmasıyla ki katılmadım. Eşdeğer bir yarışma. Ne demek istediğimi belki yarışma ortamında, yarışmalara katılan arkadaşlar vardır arada oradan okur. Benim hani ortamı alevlendirmesi gerekiyor birisinin. İlk mikrofonu da ben aldım ve ben alevlendireceğim bu konuda da. Çünkü birinci proje hakkında jüri ne düşünüyor? Herkesin aslında dışarıdan hiç fakat hani buraya kimsenin gelmediği için birisinin bir şekilde dillendirmesi gereken bir şey. Geliyor mu sesin?
Gayet iyi.
İlk sorum bu olacak. Yani iğnenize batırdınız, çuvalınızı kendinize batıracak mısınız diye soracağım diye. Efendim? Öyle mi? O zaman şöyle yapayım. Abdi hocam okumuştur ama ben şey yapayım. Birinci projenin başka bir projeye benzerliği üzerine bayağı bir tartışma döndü. Bu tartışmaların hiçbirine de ben girmedim.
Murat şöyle gidelim mi? Ben de anlamaları için şey yapayım.
Now what he's saying is there was lots of discussion, especially in the architectural medium in Turkey via internet and other means. And the main focus and the axis of the discussion was that the first prize-winning entry by the building was proposed, the main building, has a resemblance to some other projects. So that was an issue that bothered many of the participants. That was the first issue, I think, that you are trying to bring. And
ilk önce bunu herkes sormak istiyordu ya da gündeme gelecek. İlk soru bu olması lazımdı. Yani herkes konu hakkında o kadar çok konuştuğuna göre bunun ilk önce bir masaya yatırılması lazımdı diye düşünüyorum. Yani isterseniz burada
it was discussed in many mediums and many people talked about it, so this has to be the first issue to be answered by the jury, and you have to put your thoughts about this resemblance of the project to already existing other examples or example. Okay?
Shall I answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, of course, it did. Oops. The first prize is absolutely it's the prize that got the most votes. So it's the project that was elected. So it is the best project in a democratic process that we have to see like that. I also believe that it was the best project. Even so, it didn't get my vote because I thought that the landscape stuff wasn't as worked through as it should be. But still, even there was this let's say a bit negative connotation. We believe that the force of the project, the simplicity of the project, the elegance of the project, the freshness of the project was the best of all the projects that we have seen in this competition. So it was the best project, and we are happy to see it as a winner. Second stuff, you know, architecture doesn't usually come from heaven, at least in other places where I'm a jury member. So we all move in a context, and in a cultural context in which architecture happens on many layers. And I also would say that good architecture is architecture that also has a connection to other architecture, from the past, from the future, from the time that it is. I don't think that we have seen any project that was not a copy of another project in this whole competition. So there is what we call in German Zeitgeist, no? There is a kind of things that we are looking for, and we will see some repetitions. So I would totally deny, and the opposite, I would say that this is a project of its time, and this kind of, let's say, copies, as you call it, I would call it cultural appropriations. No? This is a normal way in architecture. If you don't do that, and you reinvent, then you get the bullshit of the monoblocks that you will find from the Bauhaus in the Soviet Union or in the banlieues of France. No? So it's good actually to look into good projects and to copy them in a good way. There's nothing forbidden about that. And I don't think that any architect have been doing that. And it's enough adapted, intelligently adapted, if it's a copy at all. It's intelligently adapted to the site, and like many other architectural positions, that we call copies are in the end adaptations. So I don't see any critical. Making architecture is not inventing some kind of new form, as if the circle is a new form. I mean, the Pantheon is a circle, so maybe they copied from the Pantheon. No? So I think that this is not fair. I think this is a not fair thing. And always it's not nice to see other people win. No? It's always nicer when oneself wins when you participate in a competition. But and it's also easy to find critical issues about any project. You won't see any competition winner without criticism from someone. Or they say it's a copy, or they say it's too expensive, or they will say the people who want it are too young, or they will say, I don't know, it's too prosperous, too Islamic, too feminine, too masculine, whatever. So someone will always find something. So one has to be very careful, also in terms of solidarity with your colleagues, to help them actually to get this beautiful project built, and to support them in this still to come difficult process in front of them. It will be much more difficult than the jury, I think.
Would you like me to make a small translation just before you continue?
Do you need translation?
Tercümeye ihtiyacı olan var mı?
Yes. Evet. Çok kısa söyleyeyim yine de. En çok oyu alarak seçilmiş bir proje. Bu nedenle de katılımcılar arasında jürinin uygulanan demokratik yöntem nedeniyle üzerinde birinci olması için uzlaştığı bir proje. Bu mimari tasarım süreci bir vahiy süreci değil. Dolayısıyla esinlenmeler ve içinde bulunduğumuz aslında dönemin üretimlerinden yararlanmak son derece normal. Bu en fazla hani zamanın ruhuna uygunluk, kültürel uygunluk olarak tanımlanabilir ve her aslında mimari tasarımın icat olması da gerekli. Eleştiri alması da son derece normal. Muhakkak her projede projeyi beğenmeyecek, projenin bir yönünü beğenmeyecek birileri olacaktır, eleştiri olacaktır. Bu da son derece normal. Çok kısaca.
Ben hemen hani kusura bakmayın, hani burada söylenmiş bazı şeyler var mı? Farklı yerlere gidebilecek gibi hissediyorum Fabrika'nın konuşmadan önce. Burada işte şimdi kopya ya da değil gibi bir orada aslında bir cümle geçti. Ben yanlış algılamadım, yanlış duymadım ya. Kopya ise kopyadır. Yani ben bu konu hakkında hiç görüş bildirmemiştim ama kopya değil dediğiniz zaman o bıçak sırtı bir şeydir. Yani öyle kopya da değil. Bizim pek de umurumuzda değil. Yani peyzaj da güzel çünkü bina yapmamışlar, bol peyzaj yapacak alanlar çıkmış gibi yorumlarız bunu. Bu bıçak sırtı bir şeydir yani öyle kopya da değil demeyi doğru bulmuyorum. Hani kopyadır ya da değil. Hani jüri bunun, ya benim fikrimi söylüyorsanız burada ilk defa söylüyorum. Bence açısına kadar benziyor. Ki bundan önceki çoğu kişinin benzettiği yarışmalardaki projeler hakkında kesinlikle fikrin benziyor olması bu işin kopya olduğu anlamına gelmez diye savunmuşumdur. Benim burada tanıyanlar, tartışmalara girdiğimde, söylediğimde bilenler bilir. Yani, bence dediğimde sadece beni bağlar. Ama jüri burada başka bir şeyi temsil ettiği için bunu ya da kopya ya da değil diyemez diye düşünüyorum.
I think that this is really bad that we talk about that. Because talking about copy means that some people are jealous. And this means that, as usually, between the community of architects, I always find people who are, oh no, my project was better, my project was better. And you know, when I do a competition and I lost, I forget everything. That is past. When I win, I'm glad. And I'm always looking at the others who have done some project by saying, oh, I would love to have these ideas. So, I would love to have these ideas. That means that I'm really looking at others with positive attitude. Never, oh no, I would have done that. So, no. This is not the question. So, and the question of the copy is really, actually, a bullshit because, first of all, even if my assistant didn't want that I said that, I didn't know the project, and we didn't speak about that because we never saw this project before. So we can't think that it's a copy. For us, it's not. It was a good solution, a good attitude, a good building for the site. And why it's a good building for the site? Because the position of this object, because it's an object, this thing, is central. And it includes the old rectangular or parallelopipedic buildings. And by doing that, he keep and he maintain and he keep in a strong way the center of the site. And positioning the commercial building, which will not be in charge of the winner on the both extremities. So whatever happens on both extremities, the center of the site will remain strong, thanks to this building and this location, and the way it includes the other buildings. So this is why, in a way, we push for this project. Because it's simple, not complicated, not a gesture, and it's just evident from this site to enhance or to increase the perception of the site because of its simplicity. But it's not a banal simplicity. It's something which is more interesting for that. Because it has the insertion in the site by including the others is very interesting. And you have to think about the brief of this building. This is center for design, for a kind of a school, a kind of an institute for having people coming together there, and to work and to meet. Because it's done for having many different schools from Turkey or from all over the world coming there and sharing a workshop, a topic or whatever. So this is really a place where they can do that. So it was efficient for the brief. It is efficient for the brief. It will help people to be all together. And at the same time, it's evident and efficient for the site and for keeping the site with this natural beauty, wild beauty, because the trees there are fantastic. And keeping them as they were, as they are, it's fantastic too. So I don't think, it was a debate between architect and landscape designer. A too strong landscape design will have destroyed the wildness of the site. And this object, by passing through, it just remains a confrontation between the simplicity of an object and the wildness of the site thanks to the trees. And this is very interesting.
Ben hemen jürinin kesinlikle biliyor olduğunu ve biliyor olmasına rağmen seçtiğini falan düşünmüyorum. Yani böyle bir algı oluşmasın. Benim söylediğim gördükten sonraki reaksiyonların ne olmuştu? Yani seçimleri her bir jüri üyesi değiştiğinde seçim değişir. Bu konu hakkında bir şey söylemiyorum. Hani biz haberimiz yoktu. Konuşmanın başında biz o reklamın şey dedi.
Yarışmanın şartnamesinin gereklerini iyi yerine getiren, verimli, yarışma alanıyla iyi ilişki kuran bir merkez oluşturuyor. Bu merkezin etrafında talep edilen işlevleri iyi örgütleyen ve bununla da yarışma konusu olan tasarım merkezi fikrine hizmet eden bir proje olduğunu söyledi. Biçimsel jestler ya da nasıl diyeyim, tercihlerin asıl mesele olmadığı, yani tek başına esasında bir karar vermek için yeterli olmaması gerektiğini ve peyzajla ilgili zaaf meselesine de katılmadığını, çok kuvvetli bir doğal peyzajı, doğal kültürel değerlerle birlikte doğal kültürel peyzajı olduğunu ve bu projenin bunları olabildiğince doğal haliyle değerlendirerek öneriyle bütünleştirdiğini söyledi. Anlatabildiği bir öğretmen.
Bir de alanın belli bir bölümünü güvencede tutma gibi bir biçimden kaynaklı durum olduğunu.
Ben mikrofonu vereyim. Hani hep ben konuşuyor gibi olmayayım ama programa uymayınca böyle oluyor zaten. Yani 65 bin metrekarelik bir program var orada. Bu programa uymayınca tabii ki diğerleri serbest bırakabilirsiniz. Teşekkürler.
This is an important discussion, but it has two sides. One of them is the academic side. I mean, what is imitation? I mean, can we accept these projects as unique? Can it be reproduced throughout the competitions, etc.? I wrote an article about it 2 years ago. I think it was called Mimarlıkta Taklitin Sınırları, The Limits of Imitation in Architecture. You can look at it for the academic references. It is trying to understand what are the limits, very similar to what Martin put. Actually, the thing is, nothing generates from the sky. So, I mean, my tutor used to say, you can't start a project by reinventing the brick. So it's there, you have to use it. You may find many ways to use it, and some of them will be similar to, inevitably, to the other ways. So what is the measurement and what is the degree? It is open to discussion. This is something else. The other side is very pragmatic, So, we can discuss maybe days and nights about this imitation issue or reproduction issue, let's say. Even including the architects' own reproduction of themselves, like we see in Gehry or Calatrava or something like that. That's open to discussion. Huh?
That's worse.
Yeah, that's worse maybe, I don't know. That is an academic discussion. We can get into that, but it is something else. So, there are now maybe nearly, a student of mine made a research, more than 25 turning torsos all around the world. So, the way we have to understand and evaluate it is to put it into a context. Okay? That is what actually Odin is underlining. So there is a significant site, and this form, which is a very basic form, by the way, in geometry, makes sense with its context, and it's a part of the competition. It is not the competition itself. So, when it comes there, it says something else than it is form. That's very important. So the site, the program, the context, and the form comes together to say something all together, and it makes the project. So you cannot look at the thing by itself as an isolated ring or a circle, which, of course, similar to many which had been already reproduced all through the history of architecture. It doesn't have any meaning for us. We look at the context. So in this context, it has been utilized to secure a significant area as a private area, whereas it is perfectly integrated with the outer space in a hierarchical manner, both scale-wise and transition-wise, geometry-wise, flow-wise, and many issues. And for the square meters, it is very difficult to trace, because there are lots of open, half-open spaces, urban representations, and you cannot just measure the borders of the building and calculate it in a geometrical way. And we were not very sensitive about that issue either. Because as architects, we usually evaluate the proportions, not the square meters. We don't work with calculators. That's what engineers do. We work with proportions. That is the significant issue. While a jury works, at least in my tradition, in my understanding of architecture, that is the issue. Maybe, I don't know, I have never counted the square meters. My friends did, certainly. But it may be few square meters, more or less, I don't know. But at the end of the day, what we look at is the proportions between the open and closed spaces, proximities, hierarchical relations, and the way it transforms the program into an urban park and other issues. So that is the essential thing that we underline. Otherwise, we can talk about lots of issues together, and we can talk till morning. But there is, of course, resemblance. It's a basic form in architecture. It is circle. It is circle that we have here, many places. And if you look at the national competitions for the last maybe 10 years, I can show you many entries both by the same teams or different teams which are very similar to each other. Even the subject is very different. You know, I mean, you are coming from the competition tradition. That is the fact.
Thank you very much. I believe the jury expressed well enough their attitude and their understanding about this question. So I'll be happy if you can pass to another question. We have another question.
Hello, my name is Murat, and I have two questions, but I couldn't stop myself from commenting on this issue. I'm sorry about that. I appreciate Abdi's argument about legitimacy of the circle in that context, but as he said, actually, it is an absolute form, and we cannot legitimize an absolute form with the word context. It won the project because it is a circle, and we cannot explain it with context. So that's my comment. And also, I think all the competitors here would like to hear that, yes, we were aware of that project, and we gave the prize despite of the fact that we know that project, or otherwise, we were clueless about this project, and we were really surprised, but it doesn't matter. So I think that's what people are trying to understand as competitors. So that's my comment. I'm just passing on to my real question. As again Abdi said, there's a diversity of participation, because there is a huge program, approximately about 60,000 square meter, and there were many different approaches to this problem. But when we look at the selection of awards, including the mentions, etc., it doesn't reflect, that's my opinion, and I want to hear the jury's opinion. It doesn't reflect, with one or two exceptions, especially the second prize, that there is a kind of acrobacy of buildings all over the place. So the diversity is not reflected in the award group. That's my first question. And the second question, which I'm really curious about, is the jury satisfied with the reports that are written? The scope, depth of the reports? Because, I mean, I'm not giving into specific examples, but I think they are very superficial, and they are very sometimes wrong. We can discuss it later in one-to-one contact. So I'm just curious, what do the jury think about the reports? Thank you.
You know, when you wake up in the morning and you have to go to a jury, this is a specific day. And all the jury members are in a specific day. If they were waking up the day before, it will have been a different specific day. So that is why at the beginning I said that the jury work, it's always relative. Depending on the condition, depending on the atmosphere or the alchemy between the jury members, depending on the way they were sleeping the day before, or eating, and the project also. So that means that a jury, if another jury, or a part of this jury and another part of the jury, and it will have been another day, it will have been another result. So you can't speak about a jury and the selection of a jury in absolute. You always have to think about relative. So there is no history about that. There is no ideology. There is no doctrine. This is just the result of a discussion between 5 or 6 people for 3 days and discussing a lot.